When I was first brought into Emberville, the idea is that I would be joining as a co-founder. Here we are, years later, and my role doesn't really have a specific name. I am a game designer, creative director, I am a producer, and I'm a co-owner. I am all these things. But the big thing that I want to stress to people, this is my game. What you're about to see today is a testament for how not only amazing this team is right now, but especially at the start of this year, we brought in a new member named Tiago. His name is Mira, and he has been a lightning bolt in production of this game. It is phenomenal to see how much has been added lately. You know, at the end of the day, guys, we're just a little indie studio, and we're trying to make you one of the coolest games of this type that we can. Today is going to be the second major update. We'll talk more about the future when we get towards the end. Pretty much everything you'll see today is the foundation of what's coming, but it will probably all be touched a little bit before we get there. And we'll be talking about, you know, early access and all that stuff as we get to the end of the video. So let's talk about Emberville. Welcome to Emberville. One of the first things you'll notice is the new UI. We've made some really great advancements in our UI. It is now all sunk into the interface. It is all active elements. You can see that things are happening as different stuff occurs. It is a very reactive UI and something that we wanted to do early. Again, you're gonna see a theme in the presentation today, and that theme is immersion. And one of the things we want about this game is not only to be delivering an experience that's really fun, but we want you to be in Emberville. As you see it transition into night, you can see here what we're working with. Emberville is a dead town. Emberville has been dead for a long time. Nobody lives here. It's a town that has seen a lot of terrible things. And part of your adventure is going to be figuring out what those things are. Now, one thing you did notice is that there was a day-night cycle. We do want to stress that there is a day-night cycle in the game, but you do not have to sleep. However, if you do choose to sleep, you will get bonuses as you become more and more rested each day. But if you do choose to burn the midnight oil, you can do that too. It's up to you. So all of these assets that are here, these are all the things that we've been working on over the last time. You can hear every time we come close to different areas. There's different sound and immersive elements. Listen to the bird's wings. You have some flies over here. Some excellent stuff here. As we explore around, you'll notice that even though this town is destroyed, some of these buildings look like you can go in them. Looks like we got something going on over here. Let's see if there's someone at the bar. So guys, this is Bryn. We're gonna do a quick Q&A. This is not gonna go on YouTube. Will there be romances?
So that's a very good question, and we thought a lot about this stuff, right? And as much as I like romancing in other games, it doesn't fit with the lore or the style of game that we're making.
We will not have traditional romances. You will get to know the townspeople. You will get to know a lot about the townspeople. Do big quests for them and stuff like that. But there are some reason that
yeah,
we'll talk more about later. Which romances? Yeah, you'll see. I'm sure she's fine. We'll just give this guy a little neck massage, right? So as you enter the town, especially for the first time, a lot of these buildings are going to be explorable. By exploring these buildings, you're going to see what happened. You're going to get lore bits. You're going to maybe find some important items. You're going to see all sorts of stuff. So the town of Emberville, even in its destroyed state, is something to be checked out. Now, another thing that we've really been working on, and this is another thing that we're going to be talking about a lot more in the next update, but is the combat. Now, as you guys know, in games like this, it's pretty common to have left-click combat. That's kind of your light attack. And then you also have, you know, your right-click, your second attack. Now, something we're doing that's pretty cool is if you notice, there's a swing animation with a big white flare. We have pixel-perfect hit detection in our game. What that means is wherever you see that white, if an enemy overlaps that, that's where they get hit. Now, the reason that's important is as you use a weapon like your sword, it's going to go up in skill. You're going to get better at sword 1. You're going to get better at sword 2. You're going to get better at sword 3. As you do that, you're going to start unlocking things that you can do as you play. Left click, right click. Left click, right click.
somebody is saying other classes and skill trees. Yeah, we talked about that. There will be
Yes.
a bigger showcase
That's
next time.
pretty much our next update. So there will not only be classes are not available at the beginning. You have a base. You are a person just doing his thing at the start, and you will eventually potentially find someone who could maybe help you with that, and then maybe you can like build them a building, and we can talk about it. And then the way that it kind of works, and again, we're going to talk about this a lot more later. You have to get some prerequisites in your character to a level. You may have to do a quest or find a thing, and then that will allow you to become a class. You can then level up that class. And as you level up the class, you will gain abilities, passives, all sorts of things. You can change your class at any time. When you change your class, you will then become the level of whatever class you picked. And if you leave that class, the level stays. So again, completely arbitrary. You pick class 1 and get it to level 5. You then pick class 2, get it to level 10. You can go back to class 1 at level 5. Now, the only cool gotcha here is as you level up a class and you unlock those abilities and passives, some of them will be inheritable, which means you can move them to special inheritable slots that are classless and work in every class. So even though each of your classes has their own levels and you can switch between them and level them all, your base character also has a level that increases. And as that level goes up, you get slots to then slot different class skills in. So you can build your own classes. Now, you can't inherit every skill. We do have to do some balancing stuff with that. But you will essentially be able to kind of play the game. There's tons of different weapon types, all with their own combos and skills. Find a weapon type you like, try a bunch of different abilities, find an ability type you like, and then you can level up the different classes, maybe like a passive from that one. So I'm gonna level up that class to this to get that passive. I like a passive from that one. I'm gonna level up that one, get that passive. I like the active from that one, but I'm gonna be this one. And the top ability, the ultimate ability of every class is never inheritable. So whatever class, or not really ultimate ability, the ultimate feature of every class is not inheritable. So whatever class you pick also has a big decision in terms of your playstyle. I told you a little bit of the system. We have a whole update on this, TBA. But this is what we've been working on for the years up until now. And this has been a system that I cannot wait to play in this context. So as we've walked around the town, you've seen a lot of this kind of like all these destructive elements, everything's gone, everything's destroyed. And the main part of this game is going to be rebuilding all of this. As we now get into the daytime, this is the village. This is relatively static. You're building people their own houses. You will have some creative control here, like some of the material types, the types of lights, the types of foliage, things like that. But this is more of a progression mechanic. You will build this town. But our game has something else too. Now, this looks very empty right now, but when you get here for the first time, you're gonna have a lot of work to do. This place is gonna be full of rocks, it's gonna be full of trees, it's gonna be full of a whole bunch of junk that you gotta deal with. As you decide to do that, you'll free up some spots and be able to do some stuff with it. But we did want to go ahead and clear it out to kind of show you an idea of the space. But I just want to make sure you understand you're gonna have to work for this in your game. So as we walk around this area, you can kind of see it empties. It starts basically once you clear it as like a complete clear canvas. Now I want you guys to notice something as we zoned in here. Look at the bottom. When we entered this area, our entire UI changed. We're gonna talk about more about that in a second. So we're coming over here, kind of looking around a little bit. Now I do want to stress also, one last thing. This section is not mandatory. Although players like me love this, we're going to fundamentally design this, and it is going to be a massive part of this game. We also understand some players are going to want to pick up our game and just fight stuff, and just play the story and just level. So understand that there will be parts about that. There will be things to do with that in this area, and we will definitely be helping with that as well. So as we come down here, one thing I want to show you is that I kind of wanted to give you an example of like, I didn't just want to kind of show you the creative building area. I wanted to kind of give you an idea of what something might look like. So let's kind of say like down here, this is a really kind of quaint little area. Let's say I wanted to build like a little like chill spot, something like that. Now, each of these things are placed individually, even the lights, which you can then turn on and off. We are going to have systems in the game where the more you put into this region, there will be stats that go up that then give you passive bonuses like coziness, or like there may be ones for production, there may be ones for other things. So building into your creative building area will have reasons outside of just making it look pretty. You'll be going into all sorts of different biomes, finding all sorts of different fun things to then bring back to your base and customize it and make it yours. But anyway, what does making it yours look like? Well, let's see what just a quick example of that looks like. This is a very early game example of what you can do in the creative building area. Keep in mind that all of this was placed by the player. You just saw that this area was pretty much completely empty. So all of this here would have been placed by somebody who is playing the game. Paths will speed you up when you walk on them. Lights will have bonuses around them as well. You may even see creatures start to show up as you do different things. So we want this area to feel alive, and not only feel alive, but have a whole bunch of evolving QOL, have a whole bunch of very immersive. We want you to be able to live here and have things to do here. And that is going to be the plan as we continue to develop it. So as we kind of talk about this, and it becomes day again, one of the things that I wanted to show you is kind of how this whole process is going to work. So if you go down here, you'll see these are all crafting elements that the player placed. We're not going to use them right now. That's for a later update. But these are all elements that the player placed. You would build, for instance, this here. Now, before I click this, I want to make something clear. What I'm about to show you, you get to choose which one of these you have. It will then have its own interior. They will be upgradable. And then after you've built it, all you have to do is just walk up like this, click it, and put it down. That's a little dark though. I don't know. Let's see. Maybe we should put some lights right here, there. Back here, pop a little some post work over here. Maybe put a little fence around there. But no, we'll probably come back here to put a little on that side. All these can be turned on and off, of course. And then you will be able to go into the house and then have all sorts of things you can put in the house as well, which will then not only give you, enhanced bonuses, active things you can do, just games potentially, all sorts of fun little things. So as you construct these houses and as you construct these different buildings, they're going to show up in your UI. All you have to do is right click any of these down here and all of these will pop up with anything that you've created or you have the things that you need to. You just pop your building down. Oh, look at that. All of a sudden, I have a mill. So now my base has all new functionality because I have a mill. I can go inside. I can process some of the farming stuff that I did, all that kind of stuff. But you know what? There's one thing that I'd really like to do because I just came out of this biome in the dungeon and I was doing some fishing and there was this fish there that I really, really wanted to get. So I could come down here and do some fishing just in the pond is here. But you know what? I think I'd rather make my own fishing pond. I'm going to stick that there. Barrels over here, maybe put a little chair there, and then I could, maybe put the biome water that I want in there. So, yes, this area we want to be easy to use. We want to encourage the player to use it, and we want it to be something that by the end of it, your place is not going to look like anyone else's. That's our goal. We want it to where everyone, we want to give you enough options to where you think of it and you can come up with something that looks like it in the game. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Mr. Bryn, here's a question I've been getting a lot of, and actually Mira may want to jump in this too. What is going to be our status on mod support? Do the multiplayer.
We love games with mod support. It is something that we cannot do in EA for obvious reasons, but it is something that is thoroughly in our minds, and we don't know exactly how we're gonna do it, but just we want to do mod support. Right?
Yes, that is the answer to your question is we want to do mod support. We're not sure what it's going to look like or how, but we do want to do mod support. Yes. Do you want to answer that question about co-op?
Yeah, co-op is something that is mandatory. It's not something that mandatory is not the right word. It is not mandatory. When I said mandatory, I meant
he meant mandatory to have it in the game as an option.
Yeah, we want to do it. Like we feel it's mandatory for this type of game that we're doing. It will very likely, not be in the beginning of EA. Can it become something in EA? Sure, we don't know yet. But definitely in 1.0, we want co-op. It will work very similarly to how you connect, to Terraria. Cohh connects.
We're doing that to you. Yes. So we are going to be doing a server character-based co-op system. So you will make your character, that will be your character. You will make a world, that will be your world. And then the world's progress will be independent from the character. And that way you guys will be able to jump in your friend's world and play with them. Your friend will be able to jump into your world and you'll all be on the same progress and the town will be the same. So there were lots and lots of different directions we could go with this. But at the end of the day, this is a don't reinvent the wheel situation. And for what we're doing, like games like Terraria nailed it. So we're using a very similar.
Let me
go ahead, please.
Clarify.
So these games have always done something that has kind of bothered me. And what that is it gives you all of this awesome stuff you can do in all these different areas, but then it gives you just one toolbar and one inventory to truck all that stuff around in. And frankly, it gets to the point in those games where when you get towards the end game, you're doing more management of that than playing the game. Not anymore. Welcome to dynamic UIs in these games. So when we enter the creative building area, you can see all of this stuff down here is only for this area. All these items are things that we've built or things that we've unlocked for this area. Well, let's say that I built a farming plot. So I put down all of these farming squares here. So in this area, this is where we farm. So what might happen if we walk into that area? Oh, how about the whole UI changes to be exactly what we need it to, so we don't have to go into our inventory or mess with a tool belt to make it exactly what we need. Now, what's cool about this is as we continue to get new upgrades, as we continue to get new tools, as we continue to get new things, it all stays amalgamated right here. So let's say, you got some carrot seeds. Cool, I'm planting some carrots. Well, I just went into the dungeon. I just found some awesome new seeds. Well, when I come out into my farm next time, I just right click on the carrots and there's my new seeds. Cool. And I'll just place those. And of course, we'll make it very easy so the player knows exactly what they have and when. Quick notes about our farming system. You can see pretty good farming system, pretty standard, but the way that we do the day-night, since we don't want the player to be able to sleep, we don't have a day-night forward motion cycle. We have a real-time cycle. So what we've done is we have made it so plants require water to grow. So as I'm watering these plants, they're going to start growing. Now, I do want to keep in mind everything's happening faster. We've sped up the game time. So you're watching these plants grow in real time, but this would normally take a lot longer. So as we go back to here, you see we can do more watering. We also have, of course, full fertilizer. Fertilizer you'll be able to pick out as well. And this is just one example of one thing that you're going to be able to do. The fact that we have this dynamic UI system means that we can tie this into everything. You walk up to a fishing pond, your fishing UI pops up. You walk up to a mining node, your mining UI pops up. You walk up to a tree, your wood chopping UI pops up. You don't have to worry about these things anymore. All you have to worry about is keeping your tools upgraded, exploring, and we're just going to handle all that for you. We're trying to make it more immersive, not only with the stuff in the game, but in the process of interacting and playing it. Are there weather? There is weather, I can say that, but somebody said, are there going to be seasons?
So there's some stuff that we're thinking about and we are designing and feeling how it is, because we have a ton of features in this game, a ton of mechanics, and we need to see if everything fits and if it's fun or if it's just something that will make the player feels like it's a chore or something like that. So when it comes to the weather system, we are, or the season system, we are thinking still on how we are going to do it, if that is going to affect farming or anything else, and it's to be defined at this point.
So to kind of reiterate, seasons are going to be something that we want to implement, like a lot of very fun things, but we already have a lot of stuff in the game that we need to kind of make sure works properly. And we're also very aware of scope creep. So we are locking down everything first, and then we'll start growing out extra stuff as everything kind of works as we want it to. So, God, I love that pop sound. Oh, feels good, man. Okay, anyway, so we'll put some fertilizer on here. We'll put the tomato down, get some water. But what you'll be able to do is, just like these menus have right click, you'll be able to right click on your hoe, and you'll be able to right click on your watering can. And in a row, you'll see like watering can 1 by 1, normal watering can 2, 1 by 3, copper watering can, iron watering can 3 by 3. And then you can just select which tool you want. Same for the hoe, same for any tool. And then you can like use it in your world. Yeah. All right, so now we're gonna go back to the other area, because we have one more thing to show you today that I think you're really gonna like. The town of Emberville is more of your progression mechanic. but it doesn't mean it's not going to make some very, very big changes. So when you go into the big dungeon, one of the, when you go into the, I call it the dungeon, it's really the world, but when you go into the, we'll call it the combat area, you're going to be finding townspeople and rescuing them. You're going to be doing quests for them to find out their history, to find out more about them, to find out what they need to potentially rebuild their house and start helping you find more people. So although we're not going to see the quest today or the townspeople, what I am going to show you is a little sneak peek at what may happen when you help them. So 3 things just happened. First of all, you just unlocked your townsperson. You are going to be able to enter this building. You're going to be able to interact with the townsperson, and all townspeople add something major to the game in some way. They may add some big new evolving QOL mechanic. They may add a new way for your character to progress in power. They may offer you a bunch of quests. They may let you pick your class, but we'll talk more about that next time. But yeah, they do all sorts of things. So another thing you can hear though is the soundscape of the entire city changed a little bit. And as you continue to rebuild the town, you'll notice like everything about it is going to start like changing a little bit. So let's say you come down here, and we can talk about kind of like where these different buildings would be. So let's go, if you come down to here we go. What this is. Again, listen closely. So now you have somebody preparing food, cooking, and anywhere you wander around this area, that's now part of your soundscape. So you're literally not only rebuilding your town visually, you're building your town in many different ways. Also, as some of you just noticed, the fog cleared up a little bit. Interesting. Pretty cool. So let's say you went in there and you find a blacksmith to make you some new weapons. Keep in mind there will also be levels for the town. So not only can everything be built, but many of it will be upgradable and many of it will be progressional inside of itself. So pretty nice. So as you start to kind of rebuild everything, you'll notice that the town starts to look better, the fog starts to dissipate, you're hearing more sounds, and all of this stuff kind of comes together to create that kind of image we're going for. Or finally, one day, you might have your own Emberville town for yourself. And man, it's a very different experience, isn't it? Look at that. Completely different soundscape, different weather, different everything. Now, what's cool about this, keep in mind, you're looking at a rendition of this town. So although you cannot directly decorate your town like the creative building section, we are going to give the players ways to make the town yours. Things like, what is the road paved with? What do the lights look like? What are the type of plants that are around? What color's the grass? So you can, although you're not going to be placing individual barrels and stuff, you will be able to theme your town potentially to your creative build or something completely different if you'd like to. So we're gonna give players options with that kind of stuff. There will be all sorts of NPCs and stuff walking around this town. Yes, we have not put that in yet, but your townspeople will walk around. There will be other NPCs walking around. Like people will visit your town. Like absolutely, yeah. The whole. As you repair your town will become alive. And by the end of the game, we want you to have a living, breathing town. So we are going to be doing everything we need to do to make it feel as close to that as we can. That is our goal. So, yeah. This is Emberville. And I cannot wait to play this game with you. I hope you've enjoyed our little look today at the town and the creative building area. This game has undergone an incredible amount of progress in the time that I've been with it. I have absolutely loved my time working on it, and I will continue to be working on this hours and hours and hours a week as we move into the future, move into EA, and then eventually to 1.0. I do want to give a really, really big shout out to Cygnus Cross, Bryn, Mira, Tiago, all the people that have been working on this project. The amount of progress we've seen, especially in the last year, has been incredible. I do again want to point out, last thing before we go, that everything you've seen today is early access. Please keep in mind that any of it can change. All of that will be done. Since we have been showing you this, we have redone almost all of the graphic settings, almost all of the sounds. We have completely brought the sound designs to the next level, as you guys have heard. We've put in tons of new immersive elements to make things sound different. We've done the day-night cycle. We've done the town rebuild mechanics, building an object placement. We've redone the UI, created many new graphical assets and animations. And guys, the worst part about this, for me, is I'm showing you about 10% about what we've been working on the last 2 years. And now that I've gotten to the end of this, I can tell you about this. The next major update will be the last major update before we release into early access. And the last major update is going to be all about the world you're going to be exploring, the combat system, the class system, and all of the fun stuff associated with one of the arguably major main pillar of our game. So I cannot wait to get you there. And somebody asked, like, you know, are there gonna be, yes, we're gonna have different weapon types. Weapon types are gonna have unique variants. It's a Diablo style looting system, so you'll be able to farm and craft your stuff. There are sets, there are classes. Classes can be leveled and changed. You can level up a class to gain an ability, and then some abilities can be inherited to other classes, letting you build your own classes. We are going ham in this game, I think is the premise. And again, I can't wait to tell you all about it next time. So that's going to be our third major update. We do not have a date on it. I will let you know, just like everything else. This is a when it's done thing. So I will let you know as soon as I know. And on that note, I think that's about it. That's that's the major update. That is the town and creative building major update. So thank you so much for being here. We will see you in the Emberville Discord. If you want to give some feedback, make sure to join up, because we are going to be selecting playtesters for this game to help us with it from the Emberville Discord, cohh.tv/EV Discord, if you want to jump in, and we will talk much more about this game later. Thanks for being here, guys.